Hi, I'm Ron Bateman, the Sheriff of Anne Arundel County. Welcome to your Anne Arundel's Most Wanted program, a program where we showcase wanted criminals, highlight open cases, and look to you for tips. You, concerned citizens, that share my same goal, and that's keeping our community safe. You'd be proud to know that your calls have allowed us to put handcuffs on thousands of criminals. So sit back, set your DVR, or grab a pen and paper, and help do your part in catching criminals. You're watching Anne Arundel's Most Wanted.
So as you can see, we're not at our normal set. This month, we're at the Anne Arundel County Police Canine Training Center in Millersville. So not only are we going to showcase our wanted subjects like we always do, but we're actually going to meet some of the canine training staff and get a tour of their facility. So it's kind of funny, emerging out of kennel number 3 here is Detective Sergeant Jimmy DeLay from the Maryland State Police. Welcome to the show, Jimmy.
Thank you, Sheriff. How you doing?
Who'd you bring for us?
Today I have 2 for you. The first subject we have for you today is Kevin Mark Giles. He's a white male, 40 years old, with a birthday of September 10th, 1974, 5 foot 11 inches tall, weighing approximately 145 pounds, with a last known address of 722 Snowden Land, Glen Burnie, Maryland. On September 19th of 2013, at approximately 6:30 in the morning, a uniformed trooper was dispatched to southbound 97 and Route 100 for a 2-vehicle accident. Investigation revealed that a Buick Century rear-ended a GMC Sierra. This accident was also witnessed by a sergeant with the Maryland State Police. The investigating trooper made contact with the driver of the Buick, who was identified by his Maryland ID card as Kevin Giles. A license check revealed that Giles was suspended and revoked. The trooper detected an odor of alcoholic beverage on his breath, and he performed poorly on field sobriety, leading to his arrest for DUI. After his arrest, Giles informed the trooper that there was marijuana and a smoking device in his front jeans pocket, which was recovered and processed by the trooper. He was transported to Glen Burnie Barrack for processing, where he refused to submit to a breath test. He was charged with the possession of marijuana and paraphernalia and also given traffic citations. This case was previously placed on the STET docket, but was reset for trial on August 13th of this year, and Giles failed to appear. There's an active bench warrant for the marijuana violations. The second one I have for you today is Brandon Joseph Belote. He's a white male, 35 years old, with a birthday of 12/31/1979. He's 6 foot 1 inches tall, weighs approximately 170 pounds, has a last known address of 235 Cape St. John Road in Annapolis. On February 26th of this year at approximately 12:50 a.m., a uniformed trooper was patrolling southbound Interstate 97 prior to Route 100 in his unmarked patrol vehicle. The trooper observed a yellow Chevy Silverado with Maryland registration traveling at a high rate of speed. The trooper positioned his vehicle behind the Silverado in lane number 4. The trooper followed the vehicle without losing sight onto the ramp from southbound 97 to Route 100. While following the Silverado, he observed the vehicle swerve over the solid line by over the tire's width. He also found that the vehicle was traveling 71 miles per hour in a posted 55 mile per hour zone. The trooper activated his emergency equipment and initiated a traffic stop. He made contact with the operator, informed him of the reason for the stop, and requested his license and registration. The driver was identified by his Maryland's driver's license as Brandon Belote. While speaking with Belote, the trooper smelled the odor of an alcoholic beverage emanating from the interior of the vehicle and observed his eyes to be bloodshot and glassy. He asked Belote if he had consumed any alcoholic beverages that night, and he informed him that he had a few at Cancun Cantina. Belote agreed to perform a series of field sobriety. During the walk and turn test, Belote lost his balance, stepped off the line, and had to raise his arms for balance. Belote was unable to perform the one-leg stand test satisfactorily. He was arrested and transported to the Glen Burnie Barrack, where he submitted to a breath test which resulted in .10. Belote was released to a sober adult. He failed conditions of his probation by not reporting for weekend incarceration and has an outstanding bench warrant stemming from this DUI case.
Very good. Folks, you know the whereabouts of any of those individuals. You know the drill. Do not approach them. Instead, call that number on the screen, 410-222-1490 or 911, 24 hours a day. Keep those calls coming in, folks, as your tips are definitely paying off. Sergeant, thank you very much, buddy.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Now it's my pleasure to introduce a new guest on our show, Lieutenant Ryan Fraser from the Anne Arundel County Police, who I must say is the new Public Information Officer for the Anne Arundel County Police. Welcome to the show and welcome to the job.
Thank you, Sheriff.
And before we get started, I want to say that I want to bid farewell to a class act of a gentleman, Justin Mulcahy, who is leaving the Anne Arundel County Police for some other opportunities that has come his way. Right. But Justin did a great job while with the police department and especially on this show. So it's going to be a big loss. So you got some big shoes to fill, brother.
I do.
So who'd you bring for us?
Well, Sheriff, today I brought Mr. DeAndre Bozier. Mr. Bozier has a very long history of robbing 7-Eleven stores in Anne Arundel County. When a robbery occurred in the early morning hours of July on Crane Highway, officers viewed the surveillance footage and immediately recognized one thing: the suspect's shoes. They recognized these shoes as belonging to DeAndre Bozier. They knew this because these are the same shoes that Bozier wore when he committed an armed robbery at the 7-Eleven store on B&A Boulevard and Marley Neck Road in late March. Officers and detectives have searched for Bozier at his residence on Huff Court in Freetown and has kept checks throughout the whole Freetown community. It is believed that Bozier is currently residing with a girlfriend somewhere in the Glen Burnie area. Bozier currently has an active warrant for armed robbery. Second is Kevin Alexander Gordon. In July of 2015, Kevin Gordon's grandmother told detectives that she heard some noises in her Glen Burnie apartment, and when she went to go see what those noises were, she observed her grandson jumping out her back window. She then noticed that the keys to her Dodge Charger in the vehicle were missing. Northern District Patrol officers spotted the vehicle and arrested Gordon without incident. A few days later, it was learned that Gordon had been breaking into his grandmother's house and taking her jewelry. Detectives were able to determine that Gordon had taken approximately $885 in his grandmother's jewelry to a local pawn shop. When he took them to the pawn shop, he stated that it belonged to his dead grandmother. Detectives were able to recover her jewelry, but have been unable to locate Gordon. Kevin Alexander Gordon currently has an active warrant for first-degree burglary. Third is Michael Floyd Dennison, aka Blind Mike. On July 11th of 2015, at around 5 p.m., officers responded to the area of Franklin Avenue and Alley number 7 for a report of an armed subject. Officers met with the victim, who stated that he received a call from an individual who he only knows as Blind Mike that asked him for a ride. Yet again, our savvy detectives and officers from the Northern District immediately knew that Blind Mike was indeed Michael Dennison's street name, so they were able to identify their suspect. The victim stated that he picked up Dennison on Franklin Avenue and they began to drive down the alley. Once they entered that alley, the victim stated that Dennison pulled a chrome and black handgun out of a book bag and stated, "Give me everything and get out of the vehicle." The victim exited his vehicle and Dennison drove off but struck a fence in the alley which disabled the vehicle. Dennison then fled on foot down Audrey Avenue. Officers canvassed the area, and a few blocks away inside a trash can they located a book bag containing the chrome and black handgun. Dennison was unable to be located that night and still has not been located. Dennison currently has an open warrant for armed robbery.
Very good. Folks, you know the drill. If you know the whereabouts of any of those individuals, do not approach them. Instead, call that number, 410-222-1490 or 911 24 hours a day. Stealing from your grandmother.
Amazing, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
No honor among thieves.
Lieutenant, congratulations.
Thank you very
and
much, Sheriff.
thanks for being on the show, buddy.
Thanks for the opportunity. Appreciate it.
And now for those subjects wanted by the Anne Arundel County Sheriff's Office. Let's see, our first subject is going to be Donald Clinton Giles. Giles failed to appear for court on May the 12th, 2015 for his prior burglary, trespassing, and malicious destruction of property cases. A new bench warrant was issued as a result. Giles failed to appear for court on June the 10th, 2015 for his prior theft under $100 charge. Another bench warrant was issued. Giles also has 2 open warrants out of Baltimore County, one for theft over $1,000 and the other for failing to appear for a prior theft under $100 case. Today we are looking for Donald Clinton Giles, who is a 53-year-old white male with a date of birth of January 16th, 1962. He's 5 foot 9 inches tall, weighs 160 pounds, and has balding and brown eyes. His last known address is 135 Louise Terrace in Glen Burnie. Our next subject is going to be Christopher Alexander Sampson. Sampson was on probation for prior assault and sex offense convictions. He failed to conform to the terms of his probation, so a bench warrant was issued. Sampson also was on probation for a prior assault conviction through the circuit court. He was similarly violated on his probation, and another bench warrant was issued. At the time the bench warrants were issued, Sampson also had 2 open warrants out of Boyd County, Kentucky for theft and failing to appear for traffic court. So today, we are looking for Christopher Alexander Sampson, who is a 26-year-old black male. The date of birth of October 22nd, 1988. He's 5 foot 8 inches tall, weighs 140 pounds, and has black hair and brown eyes. His last known address is 2400 229th Street in Pasadena. And our next subject is William Thomas Rice III. Rice has 3 open warrants. The first was issued after he made multiple phone calls to his ex-girlfriend. He even left voicemails during which he made threats to kill her, so it was not too difficult to identify who the caller was. During May, a second warrant was issued for violating the terms of his probation on a prior burglary conviction. On June the 18th of 2015, Rice failed to appear for his prior failed to comply with peace order hearing, resulting in the third warrant. So today, we are looking for William Thomas Rice III, who's a 21-year-old white male with the date of birth of June 13th, 1994. He's 5 foot 9 inches tall, weighs 152 pounds, and has brown hair and blue eyes. And his last known address is 303 Cresswell Road in Brooklyn. Now, our last subject is Deon Troy Davis. Davis is wanted for assault, theft of another's credit card, and use of a stolen credit card. On June 17, 2015, county police officer was flagged down at the Lothian BP gas station. The citizen notified the officer that she and her boyfriend had been in a physical altercation the previous evening after said boyfriend, Deon Troy Davis, took herself and searched through it, finding text messages from a male acquaintance. Davis became very upset, cursed at her, and threw the phone down to the ground, causing it to break. He grabbed the female by her hair, threw her down on the ground, and dragged her across the carpet, causing injury to her right knee. Davis then grabbed the female's Visa card, left the residence, and made a purchase with the stolen credit card at the Lothian Dollar General, without the girlfriend's permission, of course. We are looking for Deon Troy Davis, who's a 20-year-old black male with a date of birth of January 30th, 1995. He's a whopping 5 foot 5 inches tall and weighs 130 pounds, and has black hair and brown eyes. And his last known address is 5244 Sands Road in Lothian. Now, folks, you know the drill. You know the whereabouts of any of those individuals. Do not approach them. Instead, call that number, 410-222-1490 or 911, 24 hours a day. Now, we're going to take a quick break. We come back, we're going to meet Sergeant Tom Pleasant of the K-9 Training Center. We're going to talk to him about the Annapolis wanted individuals, and then we're going to meet Corporal Brian Flagg, who's going to give us a tour of the facility. So stay tuned, we'll be right back.
We taught him how to hit a baseball, how to hit a receiver, the strike zone, the net. You taught him how to hit the upper corner. You even taught him how to hit the open man. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit?
So my next guest is Sergeant Tom Pleasant with the Anne Arundel County Police K-9 Center. He's a supervisor here, and your commanding officer is Captain Eric Hodge and Lieutenant Phillips. Is that right?
That's correct, sir.
Very good. So the Annapolis City representative, Corporal Amy Megath, couldn't make it today, so you're going to do them first, and then we'll talk a little bit about the training center. So who does Annapolis City have?
All right, our first subject up is Kyle Murray. Kyle's date of birth is 2/23/1993. He's described as a black male, 6'6", 240 pounds, black hair, brown eyes. He's described as having tattoos all over his body. His last known address is 14 Benj Drive in Annapolis, Maryland, and his charges are for 1 warrant for second-degree assault, reckless endangerment, and dangerous weapons. On August 9th, 2015, officers responded to Benj Drive and Victor Parkway to meet with the victim of a domestic assault. The officer spoke with the victim. The victim stated that her boyfriend assaulted her. The victim informed the officer that her boyfriend's name is Kyle Murray. The victim and Murray were having a verbal argument in the kitchen when Murray picked up a pot and struck the victim several times. Murray fled the scene, and officers obtained charges for Murray. Our second subject up today is Ernest Paul Singleton. Date of birth 2/28/1968. Mr. Singleton is described as a black male, approximately 5'9", 200 pounds, brown hair, black eyes. His last known address is 907 Royal Street in Annapolis, Maryland. On February 21st, 2013, at approximately 3 in the afternoon, officers responded to the Child Enforcement Unit located at 44 Calvert Street for a subject threatening to blow up the building. The officer spoke with the employee that took the call. The employee stated that the subject was upset about the information she was giving him. The subject then started using profanity towards the employee and stated that he was going to blow the building up. The employee gave the officer the subject's name, which was Ernest Singleton. The officer obtained charges for Mr. Singleton. Our last subject today is Dustin Brooks Cantrell. Date of birth 12/31/1981. He's described as a white male, 6'1", 160 pounds with brown hair. His last known address is 138 Willow Lane in Walhalla, South Carolina. He has 1 warrant for CDS paraphernalia. On October 21st, 2010, at a little after midnight, officers responded to West Street for a report of 2 male subjects entering vehicles at a closed business. The officer located the 2 male subjects on the business lot and asked them what they were doing at the closed business. The officer then requested to search the subjects. One of the subjects had paraphernalia on himself. The officer identified the subject as Dustin Cantrell, and Cantrell was placed under arrest.
Very good. Now, folks, you know the whereabouts of any of those individuals. Do not approach them. Instead, call that number on the screen, 410-222-1490 or 911 24 hours a day. Now, let's talk about this facility a little bit. Now, you're the sole sergeant that works down here. Is that correct?
That's correct.
So tell us a little bit about the facility, when it was acquired by the county police and a little bit about it.
Okay, this facility was dedicated in 2008. It was a replacement for our canine training facility, which was on the back lot of headquarters. We still maintain that facility, but it's just a small facility to train on. This facility now has 8 indoor-outdoor kennels that state-of-the-art, has heated floors, allows the animals to go inside and outside when they're unattended by us. We have officers that come over and check on them every day that we're not here, but it gives them a nice, safe place to stay while we're not here with them.
That's great. Now, you guys also not only train the Anne Arundel County Police canines, but you're actually training one of my new deputies right now, or new canine deputy right now, and you've trained us in the past. So talk about that.
Yes, we train our 12 teams here in the county on a weekly basis, and we do yearly certifications. We also train the sheriff's 4 canine teams on a yearly basis, and also weekly we see all the sheriff's deputies here. We're currently running a basic narcotics and patrol school, and we have 3 of our own county canines and 1 sheriff's department canine.
And tell the audience how long that training will last.
We will be in this training. We just started last week, and we'll be finishing up sometime in January.
So you have Deputy Barry Byers, who is training his new dog, and hopefully 12 or so weeks he'll be out and about and helping us out.
Hopefully Deputy Byers and Canine Carlo will be on the street.
Good deal. Let's go outside and talk to Corporal Brian Flagg and get a tour of the facility.
Okay.
All right, Tom, thanks a lot, buddy.
Thanks, sir.
Now, it's my pleasure to introduce our next guest, Corporal Brian Flagg from the Anne Arundel County Police Canine Unit. Welcome to the show, Brian.
Thanks, Sheriff.
So let's talk to the audience about this grounds that we're looking right now, and it's all the pieces of equipment that are displayed here that are used for training. So let's go over each piece of equipment, and I'll have you explain it, and then we'll have Corporal Rothenbecker run his dog through and actually see what you're talking about. So before we get started, what are we looking at here?
We're looking at an agility course that sets up the foundation for the police canines when they enter law enforcement.
And how long and how often do our canines go through this training?
When they're in their basic course, they go through it quite regularly. It establishes foundation, gives them confidence when they go out here to operate in our world.
Okay, so let's start off right in front of us here. This wall, obviously it's a jumping wall, but give us the background and what's the purpose of this?
We're looking at obstacles for the dogs. It exposes them to different environments, different bricks and colors out there, so it makes them successful in our environment.
So it's real life training. So they see red brick and they see, brown cinder blocks and things of that nature.
That's correct, sir.
All right, now the next thing we're looking at is it's kind of a step up type of piece of equipment. And what's the purpose of that?
It's a dog walk with open flooring at the base of it, or at the top. It gives the dogs the confidence and courage to go over there, and that they're successful when they're exposed to that in the real world, that there may not be sure footing below them.
Okay, very good. And as we go kind of counterclockwise around the field, explain the next apparatus we're looking at.
That's an A-frame that it just exposes the dogs to be able to climb up different walls and be able to be successful in those challenges.
So we're really just exposing the dog to just a variety of climbs and jumps and things of that nature.
That's correct, sir. Environmental exposure is key to the dog's success out here in our streets.
And the next thing we're looking at?
That would be chain link fencing, and built in a manner that's safe to the dogs.
Very good. Now the tires behind it, that's just safety for the pole, or is that use it all?
It's completely used. It's a challenge for the dogs. We throw balls in there. The dogs will sit here and jump into the tires. There will be all four paws will be in there, and all we'll see is a tail wagging in the air as they're searching and hunting for their ball.
Very good. Now, before we go around, I know the answer to this question, but talk to the audience about the purpose of the ball.
The ball or any other type of reward creates, it gives the dogs their pay. Would we come to work and never get paid? And these dogs come out here every day to serve the citizens, and they are paid by our relationship with our handlers, and often with a ball or a treat, or it just depends what is the reward established by that agency.
Very good. Now, keep going around counterclockwise here. How about the next piece of equipment?
That's a high platform with open steering, and a platform for the dogs to climb down.
And that's higher than the rest for the most part.
It's an elevated platform over 6 foot tall.
Cool. Now, the next big tube.
It's a tunnel, a 24-inch tunnel with 90-degree turns that the dogs must go in. It's dark in there, and they have to go out to the other side.
And next looks like a 3-tier type of apparatus. What is that?
It's platform number 1, which includes open steering, which is a little bit more steep for the dogs, closed stairs to establish some foundation where they are comfortable going up those stairs, and a slide for them to come down.
Now, a really neat piece of equipment here, a car door. Tell the audience what the car door's for.
For patrol operation purposes, the dogs may encounter a suspect that refuses to comply with officers' directions on the street, and the dogs may have to go into a vehicle through a closed car door.
And the key would be to comply.
To comply, yes, sir.
Okay, now the next piece of equipment here.
It's a catwalk in a dog training area. It's a 12-inch wide platform for the dogs to climb over and establish sure footing in a tight area.
And coming out in the middle of the field a little bit.
That would be our long jumps for the dogs to come out and challenge themselves in jumps that carry them a little bit further than the normal jump.
And obviously the next thing is going to be some type of a regular door like for a house or a business.
Yes, sir. An open window for the dogs to jump through.
Gotcha. And they have to jump all the way through that.
They do.
And the next to the last piece?
We have 2 pieces left. That's the tunnel, and that's the introductory tunnel. It's a short, I think it's 8 foot long, 24-inch tunnel for the dogs to crawl through.
And lastly?
Is our low crawl. And the dogs oftentimes have to climb underneath the cars or tight space to go to an odor or to a suspect.
Now, of all the pieces of apparatus you've just talked about, which one have you found has been the most difficult for new dogs to get used to get good at?
Imagine this, the catwalk.
Really?
The cats are always challenging to these dogs. It is. It's a very narrow platform for the dogs. They want to jump off of it, and we have to tell them that it's okay to sit up here on top of it and crawl across it or walk across it.
Very good. All right, how about we take Corporal Rothenbecker and his dog and put them to work, and let's see each piece of equipment in action.
Yes, Sheriff. Looking forward to it.
Well, I hope you enjoyed our show here at the Anne Arundel County Police K-9 Training Center. I want to thank Chief Altamari for allowing us to use the facility and his staff. I also want to thank the County Executive, Steve Shue, for allowing this show to happen every single month, and Chief of Police Mike Pristoop from the Annapolis Police Department. I also want to thank the Superintendent of the Maryland State Police, William Pelosi. And I also want to thank behind the camera, Mr. Dale Boyer, and from my shop, Lieutenant Jennifer Gilbert-Dran, who puts the show together every single month. Remember, folks, let's keep Anne Arundel County safe. I'm Sheriff Ron Bateman. We'll see you next time on Anne Arundel's Most Wanted.